Hi there, I'm Carly Sandos from Noche Jazz and Cabaret, and for Capital City Pride we put together a nice, light, easy, crushable highball featuring Tito's Handmade Vodka. We'll start that off with 1.5 ounces. We're just going to pour directly into the glass. We don't need any special equipment for this, so anyone can make it at home. Then we have Domaine de Canton Ginger Liqueur, which is just wonderful, delicious, bright. You can open it and keep it on your shelf pretty indefinitely as long as you have a cap over the top. So just to brighten up anything that you have at home, a little more sass in it. We'll fill this up with ice and then top with blood orange soda. I picked this up at Hy-Vee, but there are plenty of brands available all around town. Then we're just gonna give it a lime wedge to keep it bright and tart, wake it up partway through if it's starting to get a little flat. So we hope to enjoy one of these with you soon and enjoy your Capital City Pride.
Hey everybody, welcome to Capital City Pride's Tuesday night cooking. We're super excited to be here at the Kitchen Collage. Big thanks to the Kitchen Collage for having us. We'd like to take a minute to thank our sponsors. Facebook is making this all possible and we couldn't be more grateful. And I'd like to say thank you to Chef Erica for teaching us all some really great food today. So I'm going to get out of the way and let you
I appreciate
work
it.
the magic.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Scooch, scooch. No, I'm just joking. So my name is Erica Collins. I'm a pastry chef and food writer and food blogger from Chicago, but currently living in Des Moines. As she said, we are in my home away from home here at Kitchen Collage in the East Village. And today we are going to make an Asian-inspired meal, a weeknight meal, that you should be able to do in an hour. That includes a vegetarian banh mi sandwich with a mushroom pate filling and sesame crusted tofu. We'll have an Asian noodle cold salad, and then for dessert we'll just do a little twist on an Italian classic, Vietnamese affogato.
Oh, this sounds amazing.
Yeah, okay, sounds good. So let's get started actually with dessert first. So the twist of a regular affogato, if you're not familiar, it's just an Italian dessert with vanilla ice cream or vanilla gelato, and you have hot espresso poured over it. So it's super simple. Yeah, it's really good. It's almost like a hot root beer float in a kind of way. Very delicious. An adult root beer float. This version accounts for the use of sweetened condensed milk in Vietnamese coffee drinks, and so we're going to use sweetened condensed milk to make a no-churn ice cream. So great make-ahead kind of project, super simple. First you'll need your sweetened condensed milk. In this bowl I have one 14-ounce can, and then I'm going to add to the bowl of my stand mixer cold heavy cream, which is why it's not in there. So it's super important that your heavy cream is cold before you whip it, otherwise it just won't whip. Now let's say it's super hot, which it has been here. You think your heavy cream was cold enough, but you're whipping and it's not happening. It's not a problem. You can take your bowl, the whisk, and the cream in the bowl, pop it all in the fridge, and then let that sit for a little bit, and then give it a go again. So into the bowl I have 2 cups of the cold heavy cream. I will add a teaspoon of vanilla extract. You can just eyeball it. I like to use really good vanilla extract, by the way. If you're gonna invest in vanilla, make it nice, in my opinion. And we're gonna go ahead and spruce this up and whip this to stiff peaks.
Do you need to be worried about over whipping your whipped cream? I always
You definitely
worry about
can
that.
over whip your whipped cream. So if you're not really familiar with whipping, I would suggest that you keep a close eye on it, which I'm still going to do. If you kind of over whip it, you could add a little bit more cream and soften it back up. But if it goes too far, then you have to just start over again. It'll be too bad, so sad.
Whenever I hear, or read instructions are like to stiff peaks, I have no idea what that means.
Yeah.
It's kind of like watching Schitt's Creek and you're talking about folding. What does folding mean? That's what stiff peaks mean to me. Like, who knows?
I'm glad you brought that up because I will show you that.
Oh, good.
So you know what we're talking about. Now I'm putting a piece of plastic over this to avoid any splatter. You can always use a clean kitchen towel as well. Because we're going to crank this up, right? We're whipping the cream. We're not sitting here stirring all day.
Yeah.
So let's try to get this going.
It's a great idea.
I'm so embarrassed that in more than 40 years of life, I have never thought to cover it.
I have too many
I
years
just
old.
get dirty.
So aside from visually looking at it, or you can also listen to it after a certain point, right? It's just liquid in the bowl, so it's going to sound like liquid. But let's pretend like I walked away to quickly do something else. I need to be kind of tuned in for when it stops sounding wet. Right? That's
Yeah.
the first clue we're getting the volume that we need.
What if you don't have a mixer?
If you don't have it, if you have like the little hand kind of beater, you can do that. I actually was on TikTok and there was this pastry chef who actually used a stand mixer to whip cream, which I personally have not tried. So she had it in a bowl like this, and then she just mixed it until it whipped up. So
Wow.
food for thought on that, right? Yeah, like
Like an immersion
an
blender.
immersion blender. Yeah, that's exactly what she used. Okay, let me just pause since there was a question about what is stiff peak, right? Let me show you what is not stiff peak. Because you obviously know what just heavy cream looks like,
Right.
right? All right, but if you can see into the bowl,
Okay.
okay, it's no longer just liquidy, but if I have it on my whisk, it's just sad and droopy. So therefore not stiff.
Sad and droopy.
Sad and droopy. So that could be, this would, I would say, is right before a soft peak.
Right, that was like my high school nickname.
Yeah, I'm just gonna leave that there. All right. This back on, and actually I could leave this off because now that we have, it's not wet.
I am loving that stand mixer. Because I've hit days where I say things like, I am loving that stand mixer.
I've never seen one with lights.
Yeah.
Off would be helpful, right? Okay. So now for another point of reference, right?
Oh,
So
yeah.
this is a pretty,
Oh, perfect.
this is a nice peak. I know myself, and I'm an over mixer. I'm an overhand mixer.
Uh-huh.
So I will deflate things. This is just me. So I need to actually just go a little bit more to kind of compensate for my little quirk.
So how, are you on full speed there, or are you on?
Yeah, that's why we put that plastic on there. It's just like, let's just do it. Get in there and let's go. So do you see the difference between
Oh,
what I
yeah.
just showed you and
Oh,
right
yeah.
now? Yeah. So it's still a good peak, but it obviously it doesn't look as cute as the other peak. This works for me, and also some pastry recipes you need it a little bit firmer of a whip to make it work.
It already looks good enough to eat, yes.
Yeah.
It is pretty good. I can't lie. Just scooch this over here. All right, and so again, I have the sweetened condensed milk in this bowl, and I want to soften this by adding some of the whipped cream, and then I'm going to fold. And we want to remember folding is down and up and out, right? This is a stir. This is a whisk. A fold is like chop me down, bring me up, chop me down, bring me up. You can obviously use the spatula for this, but I like to use the whisk because it just kind of helps me incorporate a little bit better. So just some. That's an official measurement, is some. And then I'm going to soften this. And you're softening because obviously your sweetened condensed milk is a different consistency than your heavy cream. And so you kind of need to get it ready before it can accept everything else. I'm also not going to worry about incorporating it fully right now because I have more to add. So it will incorporate as I continue to mix. Don't fall in. All right, good. All right, and I'm just going to do this in like maybe two additions. You can use your whisk to scoop, scrape down your sides. And I'm going to add the rest of this. And since I'm able to take this opportunity, I want to talk about scraping your bowl. Just a little pet peeve of mine. Get all of your stuff out your bowl. It's easier for when you have to do dishes or if someone else has to do dishes for you.
And it's not wasteful.
And it's not wasteful, right? Especially dairy products, which are expensive, like real talk. Your dairy products, your vanillas, your your eggs, especially if you're just doing like yolks only. Get as much as you can out of there.
I just saw a specific bowl scraper hanging on the wall, and I was thinking, I totally need that because I like to get everything out.
Get it all out. Yeah, I have a dough scraper, which kind of looks like a little like a
Oh, yeah.
clamshell,
Uh-huh.
and I used like at home when I was doing this, I used that to just get everything. But you know, this is not an expensive recipe. Actually, nothing that we're making today is very costly. I live on a budget. I shop on a budget, so I was able to find everything we're making at either an Asian market, especially if it's a particular item, or a chain grocery store here in Des Moines. So,
Great.
Perfect.
all right. So here we have the base, and this is going to go into a metal loaf pan. It would be great if your loaf pan was already like cold. If you had it in the
Okay.
freezer for a little bit, when you make ice cream regularly, you always transfer it into a cold pan
Yeah.
or a cold container. So we'll just pour this in. Obviously, this isn't big enough, but you could split it into two if you want it. So it just goes in. Actually, maybe a little bit big enough.
Yeah, I think that's a deceptively large loaf pan. isn't
I
it?
know. So it wasn't just me. Get in there. And I'll let you guys taste this if you want.
Uh-huh.
Just let me set that to the side. And you just smooth this out. It doesn't have to be perfect, right? Because you're going to scoop it anyway.
Does it have to be a metal pan?
No, it doesn't. Actually, that's a very good question. You could do like a glass Pyrex, like a baking dish, whatever you have. Really, just make it work. But you would want to smooth it, tap it, use the back of a spoon. I have some spoons here. If you guys want to give a quick taste.
Yeah.
Literally, how this tastes is how it will taste once it's frozen.
Thank you.
So it gives you a good idea of the flavor you're going for. And again, went with this because Vietnamese coffee drinks use sweet condensed milk.
Oh my
Wow.
God.
That's
And
great.
so
That already tastes amazing.
So you
Tastes
let
like
this freeze.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's kind of like professional sports people. It's like you watch them and you're like, oh, that looks so easy. You make it look really easy. So I'm already thinking, oh, I can go home and do this. I'm sure that.
You really can. I promise you. Sorry to show you my back, but let me just pop all over it here. So that takes care of the dessert portion. So that would need at least 3 hours to firm up, right? Or overnight. So again, this is a really good make ahead kind of dish. And oh, I forgot. Keeping it super easy, instant Vietnamese espresso.
Oh, wow.
Went with Vietnamese because I'm trying to stay on theme.
Mhm.
But also their coffee has a very like particular robust kind of taste. So
Yeah.
I'm trying to keep it consistent. But just grab some of this and this will be the espresso for later when you're ready to serve.
Is that easy to find at like one of the Asian markets?
Yes.
Fantastic.
Very easy to find. And actually they also have like instant coffee mix. But I did not want to use that because those had like a 3-in-1 combination where all of the dairy was already in it.
Yeah.
And I wanted that look of the ice cream with the dark coffee over it.
Yeah.
So that's why I went with this packet. Again, very inexpensive. So, all right, we took care of dessert. Done and done. Now it's time to move on to our side, which is our cold noodle salad. I'm excited about this one because it's easy.
I see a little ramen there.
I
Don't give
know.
away the goods. You're giving away the goods.
No, I'm very excited.
Yeah, it's super easy. So we save time by using a pre-shredded slaw mix that I just picked up at the local grocery store. I think it was $3. I went with a broccoli carrot slaw, and it had some cabbage in it as well. I had some extra cabbage at home, so I just kind of added it a little more because I like it. And I saved some dollars by, using the glorious ramen. This kind of ramen, I did. But you can definitely substitute for a different kind of Asian noodle. So if a soba noodle, I actually tried this with a soba noodle, looked really nice with that dark color of the buckwheat noodle. If you have an egg noodle at home, or if you pick up a flat noodle, so feel free to do whatever you want to do with that. But I would recommend again keeping it themed Asian. So you would prepare your ramen according to the instructions, right? Just boil it. Notice I'm not using the seasoning packet. One, because my blood pressure went up holding it. And two, I think the dressing has a pretty nice flavor, so I didn't want to kind of mess with that. So you would boil your noodles according to the instructions, drain them in a colander, and then you're going to rinse them under cold water. When I say under cold water, like full stream, and you're like washing them, that's going to stop your cooking process and of course once you do that, let them drain very well, and then they will go into the bowl with your slaw mix. Just that easy. I'm going to put on a glove because I'm going to use my hands for this.
Yeah.
Since you just like to get in there. And I do expect everybody's going to eat some, so
Oh yeah.
don't want to be gross about it. Before I do that, I want some lime and some salt. So this was the slaw mix, again with a little extra red cabbage added in. I'm actually going to season this up with a little bit of salt. And yes, that is a little bit of salt.
Yep.
And a squeeze of lime. Maybe 2 squeezes of lime. And I'm going to also add to this pickled carrot and daikon. Okay, let me pause for 2 seconds. Let me get this in. That's it. All right, but let me pause because I'm skipping ahead a little bit here. We will go over this when we prepare the banh mi, but I didn't want to forget to add it. And I also wanted to make a point that when you make that pickled mix, don't be afraid by the quantity because you could repurpose it throughout the week into salads, on top of other dishes, just as a side on its own. It's
You
pretty
can't
great.
buy it like that, you have to prepare the.
I'm sure you can. I didn't see it because I wasn't looking for it.
Okay.
Yeah. But it's just a rather quick preparation. So I'm just gonna, like I said, toss this together. But we will double back to discuss that. Let's go ahead and add some scallion. Again, my official measurement, some. Oh, and then corn. I have a little,
Yes.
yeah. Why not, right? Frozen or canned, as long as it's thawed out. So this is actually frozen and it was thawed out, and I'm just gonna put some in. I think it adds really nice color. And then I'm gonna add my cooked, drained noodles. Now you notice these don't come out so pretty. They're a little sticky, but that's okay. You'll do your best to incorporate, which is why I like to use my hand for this one. And then plus you can separate it a little bit more when you dress it.
And while you're doing that, I might introduce our wines really quick.
Yeah, why don't you do that?
So I'm staying with the same theme that we did previously of trying to do kind of nice value wines. And on top of that, I'm actually revisiting some of the wines to show how you can use them in a totally different style but still do pairings. So we're going to start today with the Emma Reichart Rosé. Comes in at a cool $4.99 and tastes wonderful. It's crisp, it's clean, and it's going to really balance some of these Asian flavors. Get a little bit of spice with it. It's going to have a little bit of acidity that's going to balance that nicely. I'm pretty excited about that. And instead of pairing each course, what I tried to do this time was pair an actual meal. And so we're also going to be doing, again, that Freak Show Cab that comes in at $16.99 a bottle. And I'm hoping that that really plays off of some of the starchiness with the Asian salad, and a little bit of that spicy is going to actually mirror in the spiciness of the cab.
Well, that's great, because speaking of spice, any of this you can adjust your spice on. This is a crushed red chili flake. I actually picked this up at the Asian market as well, just because the pepper is a little bit different. It doesn't taste exactly the same as like the crushed red peppers that you put on pizza. So it has a little bit of a different flavor, but you can add it, not add it. You could put it on at the end, you could put it in the dressing, but that's a good point. You can definitely add some heat. You can also put some jalapenos in here. What I like about this is that it's customizable, right? Whatever you have on hand, maybe you want to use up some stuff, toss it in, and you're done with it. So let's move on to our dressing for this. What I need a measuring cup for. Right here, don't worry. All right, so for our dressing, we're using sesame oil, and I'm gonna do 1/8 of a cup of that.
I would have got nervous if you would have just poured it in. Yeah, that's an eighth of a cup.
No. And I, no. And I actually sometimes will pour over things that is ultimately going in case I spill. But I'm actually gonna put it together in the jar just so I can shake it up.
Okay. That makes me feel better.
Yeah, okay, I'm glad you feel better about that one. So that was the sesame oil that we used on that. Then you'll need a neutral oil. Here I am going to use grapeseed oil. Neutral just being it doesn't impart a flavor. So grapeseed oil or canola oil works really well.
So what's the purpose of that then? Is it just kind of give it
Of the
more
oil?
volume? Yeah.
Okay, so this dressing is essentially a vinaigrette, and by definition, a vinaigrette is 3 parts oil and then 1 part vinegar. So I'm incorporating 2 different oils. Sesame oil, if you're not familiar, it has a pretty aggressive taste for some, and I don't want all of that flavor, so I'm cutting it with the neutral oil. Is that?
Yes.
Okay. You're welcome. This I'm going to do a full 1/4 cup of. And again, this is just my grapeseed, my neutral oil. I'm going to do 2 tablespoons of rice vinegar, which is just a mild vinegar. Okay, that little eyeball. And then I'm going to add fish sauce. Oh, here we go. So fish sauce. Let's talk about fish sauce for 2 seconds. This, if you're not familiar, is just a particular brand. We're not like promoting this. But fish sauce is a condiment, and it is the liquid of salted and fermented fish. I'm going to say that again. It's the liquid of salted and fermented fish. That being said, it does have a very strong smell, but that smell does not like go into your food, right? So when I use this, it's not going to taste like I've just laid an entire raw fish on top of anything, okay? It's not going to do
Can I
that.
ask a question?
Sure.
So my partner doesn't eat seafood at all.
Yeah.
And he knows when fish sauce is in any of the food.
Mm.
Is there a replacement for that you could use?
You could use soy.
You could use soy.
You could use soy sauce. That's not a problem. I will say though, you can use soy sauce, but just recognize it's not the same thing, right? This has a distinctive taste. It has like a certain level of umami, like that fifth scent or taste rather. And for me, this is something that, as someone who didn't grow up eating fish sauce, when I eat it or I taste it, that kind of identifies what I'm eating as generally Asian for me, which is another reason why I like to use it. And this bottle is actually from my house, so this is legit how much we've gone through.
I'm really excited that you're using it in this recipe because I legit have 3 bottles of fish sauce at home, but I never know what to do with it.
Yeah,
So I always think I want to use it, but I don't know how.
yeah, I've seen it recipes where it's always like in a dressing or it's in some kind of like stew or some kind of sauce you can add it flavor different kinds of meats. I mean, I'm definitely not knowledgeable enough in all like Asian food for that, but it is a mainstay. Like I said, I've used this bottle. We probably had it for, I think we bought it when we were here. So within the year, this is how much fish sauce we've gone through as an American couple, a non-Asian couple. So there's definitely some. So I'm glad that works. All right, we have the sesame oil, rice vinegar, the fish sauce. We're gonna put garlic and ginger. I just minced them together, right? There's no point in having to mince it separately, unnecessarily so. So that's gonna go in. And then I'm gonna add a pinch of sugar, just regular sugar. And then I'm gonna add some chili. Does anybody? Okay.
Yeah.
I'm gonna add.
Especially that.
Yep.
I'm gonna put it in my salad dressing. All right. And I'm gonna give this a shake.
I love the consistency of those red pepper flakes.
Yeah, they're right.
Yeah,
That's nice. They're smaller. I don't know if it's
Yeah.
just more crushed.
just done a little bit more. It's nice.
All right, this is looking good. I'm gonna give it a taste to see if I need to add any salt in there. Ooh, yes, okay. Actually could do a little bit more sugar, and I probably will hit the salad with a little bit more lime, which you could also stick it on the pepper. You can add a little bit more lime to kind of cut that as well at a later point. What I'm also going to do, since this has a lot of kind of crunchy vegetables in here, I'm going to add just a little bit of the dressing. I'm not trying to dress this, but I just want to soften up those vegetables because this is going to go in the refrigerator along with your dressing until you're ready to serve.
Great. Now, because you kind of touched on it a little, sugar. Sugar's a great way to counteract it if you accidentally overspice something, right?
Well, it's not.
Overheat it, I guess.
It's not so. That is correct, but it's not so much that it's just about balance, right? Like if you have salty, you want sweet. If you have spicy, you want you just need to balance out your flavors. And this, you just need the sugar. I feel like when you taste it, you just know you need the sugar. Just like I could see that I needed a little bit more acid in here as well to help balance out the flavors. And again, that sesame oil, at least for me, has a really like strong, silky kind of mouth feel. And I feel like you need some kind of acid to kind of punch through that.
Absolutely.
All right, so these would go into the fridge. And I'm gonna clean up for 2 quick seconds.
It smells amazing. Set it next to me. And
Oh, is that
yeah.
what okay, I'm
That's
tempting
great.
you. Don't eat it yet. It's not ready. And actually, let me see if this stays.
I need to make sure my husband never sees this and watches you clean as you go. It's
You know-
hands down the biggest fight at our house.
It's funny that you would say that. It's funny that you would say that because I feel like this isn't clean enough. Like I don't want any of my picture chefs to see this.
You're like me though. When I cook, I like to clean as I go because
Yeah.
I hate big mess at the end.
Yeah, you just can't.
I try so hard, but then I feel pressure. Like,
To clean?
I feel pressured with balancing the cleaning and the cooking.
Yeah.
So it's like
Yeah.
I'm afraid I'm gonna ruin the recipe because I'm focused on cleaning. So
No.
I try, but mine would not look anything like this.
Well, actually, I'm glad. Thank you for saying that. That's very kind of you. Because I do feel like this is a bit junky, and I do feel a little itchy about it. But that's just
Oh
me
my
going
goodness,
on.
you can never come to my house.
Yeah, I probably would have a full blown moment. Okay, let's double back. Remember in the salad I put those pickled carrots and daikon, right?
Yeah.
So let's double back to that for a quick second.
I'm excited about that.
I'm embarrassed, but I don't know what daikon is.
Oh, I'm glad you asked. Ta-da. Here's a daikon.
Oh, I didn't know that's what that was.
So, a daikon is a radish. It's a Japanese radish. This is actually a small one. They can be quite large, like forearm size,
Wow.
large. Actually, in Japanese, dai means large, kan means root. Okay?
Oh.
Yeah. So they can be big. I just found a small one just for the sake of the demonstration here. And it is not like the red guys that we usually think of with radishes. It is sweeter and sweet in a way like unripe pear, possibly, and kind of like a jicama consistency, so kind of crunchy and that kind of texture. But common in Asian cooking as well, as you can see with this salad mix. So you would just buy one, really inexpensive. You would peel it. And for this mix, this I would say eyeball. In the recipe, of course, I have like quantities, but both your carrot and your daikon, you would just peel. You kind of want like even, right? So I can't say to you, well, I didn't know how to say to you, have 2 daikon because you have 2 carrot. Well, if this thing is as big as my forearm and is wide, that's kind of not going to work. So I would suggest that you get your carrots, and carrots come in different sizes, and then you just kind of eyeball as far as length and what you think about for the volume, right? And you would like to do a little bit more if you're going to use it in your salad mix as well, all right? So this, like I said, you would want to peel. Let's do, you will want to peel both of them, and then you're going to want to cut them into julienne strips. Now, if you have a mandolin, then you could definitely use your mandolin for it. Just tuck those fingers back, I'm telling you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you've
I have
ever-
a mandolin that I never used. It terrifies me.
Yeah, it can be rough business, but they do come with julienne attachments to them, and that will give you a really nice, consistent kind of cut. Now, my knife skills are not to that level, so I'm gonna just make it work with what I have. And the way, go ahead.
Do you buy your vegetables at typically at one store, or do you just kind of look and see what's available, or?
Me, like Mimi,
Yeah.
I'm like that person who puts like some real time into grocery shopping.
Uh-huh.
You know, I'm not like, oh, I'm just gonna run and get some stuff. Like I have a whole plan,
Yeah.
and with that in mind, I map out where I'm going based on what I need.
Yeah.
So I will, when I grocery shop, I know that I'm probably going to go to 3 stores.
I'm the
Right.
same.
You know, like it will be the Asian market, maybe for example, and then I know I'll probably hit 2 chain grocery stores.
Right.
One more expensive, one less expensive. And then between all of that, that's how I get stuff.
Yep.
The farmer's market for me is more like the whim buys, the
Yes.
impulse
Right.
buys.
What looks great.
What looks great
smells
today.
amazing.
And that really helps with seasonality too,
Yeah.
right? Less transport, freshness, all of that kind of stuff. All right, so if you want to julienne this, the best way is to cut this. We peeled it, and we want to cut off planks, like little plaques, almost like these pieces of paper.
Yeah.
And then you will take your plaques, and then you will cut those into strips.
Oh,
Okay. Now it rolls. It's like your carrot rolls. So you need to stabilize it so you don't like cut your fingers off. And so you're going to do that by just cutting off one part, so you now have a flat surface to lie down. Okay. And then you're not gonna.
I saw you put a towel under the board. Is that just to stabilize the board?
Yeah, definitely want to stabilize your board. Some boards have feet. I know Teresa sells some here that look just like this, but have little rubber feet on them. But you always want to stabilize your board. Just don't even. It's not worth it. It's just
you
not
learn
worth
it the
it.
hard way once.
Yeah.
Or you watch somebody learn it the hard way once.
Yeah, and I've had my fair kitchen cut, which is why I'm a slow cutter now, because you know,
Trauma.
basically.
Yeah.
And then I've sliced off part of my fingernail, like through to the nail bed.
Oh
Yeah.
gosh.
You learn. You'll
Yeah.
go slow. I'm not going to cut all of this. I
Yeah.
just want to show you, right? So we kind of have plaques here.
Yeah.
They're relatively consistent in size. I'm not going to stack them because sometimes they slide around, but you definitely could stack them. And then you'll lie your little plaque down on the board, and then you'll just hit it with some strips.
Oh,
Cut out your
wonderful.
strips. And these are your.
I'm a very type A personality, and I watch that and I'm like, oh, I want to do that because the precision is awesome. I love it.
Oh, well, thank you. I mean, and this is, I was telling my husband about it, and like you all heard, but people didn't hear. He's a chef and has been one for 10 years. I was watching him cut stuff the other day, and I was just like, man, if I could do
Yeah.
that.
I want those knife skills,
I would really
man.
be somebody special if I could do that. So that's what you would do. You would do that with your daikon. You would do that with your carrots. And then you'd put them in a bowl and you would salt them. And you would salt them as if you want them to be a salty potato chip. And then it's going to leach water in the bottom of the bowl. And once it does that, let me see. This will show. I did this ahead. Once it leaches the water and the little daikon strips can bend, like fold into like a little loop, right? That's the test. You'll drain it out, you'll stick it in something like this, and then you'll pour a cup of vinegar and water that you've heated up. You don't need to have like a rolling boil, it could just be warm. And then you pour it over, and then this is your pickled goodness.
And how long does that last?
This lasts like a couple months.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, fantastic.
Yeah, at least a month. I would say if you're ever worried, just at least a month, and then you're in the safe
I
zone,
love pickled
especially for
vegetables.
something. Yeah, and it's really convenient.
Yeah.
It's really super convenient. So that takes care of that. Now we can start moving on to the prep for our actual banh mi fillings. Are we okay on time?
Oh, yeah.
So, like I said, we're doing a vegetarian version. because
I don't believe in time when it's food related.
Oh, okay. I'm trying to be considerate.
No, you're good.
So we're doing vegetarian banh mi sandwiches. Now, banh mi is, actually, I'm gonna just hold that off for a second. Banh mi is a Vietnamese sandwich, just point blank period. It's usually done with pate, which is ground up meat that's highly seasoned and kind of like a spreadable consistency, and it's served on baguette. So Vietnam was colonized by the French from 1800s to 1954. Obviously, you're gonna see some French influence on things like food, hence baguette and pate, right? So we're not doing the meats, not here, not today. We're gonna do the mushroom.
Ooh,
Yeah.
I love that.
Oh, you like the
Oh.
idea of the mushroom?
Oh, I love mushrooms.
Yeah, so we're gonna do the mushroom for the pate, and then we're also going to do, I'm gonna need this.
Yeah.
Somebody hold, like, just set that to the side for me.
Absolutely.
We're gonna do the mushroom pate, and then we'll do the sesame crusted tofu for it as well. So you have two fillings, and you're not just sitting there eating a bunch of vegetables, you know, on bread, which would be not so much a good look. So I'm gonna put this pan. Actually, I didn't put oil in it. Pretend I didn't put oil in it. I thought I was gonna do something else. On a medium-high heat. This would have no oil. And then I have about two small packages, 16 ounces of portobello mushrooms. You can always substitute it with something else if you wanted. And they've just been washed and they've been sliced. So what the plan is, we will put this in our, oh, this is heating up nicely. Nice pan. Very nice. I like it. We'll put all of this in and we're gonna let this cook down. I would say maybe about 4 minutes or so. We're looking for it to release the water in the mushrooms. They're gonna shrink a little bit and they're also gonna darken up just a touch.
And you said no oil or anything?
No
in
oil.
it, so
Like, yeah, again,
dry
like I
pan.
mistakenly put it in there because I was thinking I was gonna do something else.
What would be a substitute if you didn't want to do the mushrooms? Anything you recommend?
Ooh.
That's a good question. Let me think about that. Like to make a pate of?
Right, because I think you said something you do mushrooms or if you wanted to substitute it. I was just curious.
Oh, I meant substituting the type of mushroom.
Gotcha.
Yeah, if you weren't trying to do the mushroom pate at all, like you would just need to find something else to work with.
Yeah.
All together. I don't think there's a good like substitute for the mushroom per se. Not that I worked with for this recipe. Can I get this back from you? So while that's going, restabilize my board. I'm gonna go ahead and I'm also going to slice 1/2 of an onion or a shallot, whatever you have handy.
So I always have to ask, what do you use as your secret to not cry when you're slicing onions?
I just cry. That's what I do.
Okay.
I just cry and sniffle and just have all of the disgusting face issues. I'm serious. It's just, I
Just
can't,
okay with it.
I'm just like, this is where we are in life today. So that's what I'm gonna do.
That's awesome.
I've tried running it under cold water. I've tried putting a candle. I've tried having a little fan, going at the same time. And I've had nothing at all work for my life.
I will say this. The onion goggles that look incredibly stupid.
You have them
Yes.
and they work for you?
Yes. Because my eyes tear to the point that I can't keep cooking. Like I have to stop for a little bit.
Yeah, as do I.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so my mom gave them to me and I was like, these are ridiculous. I'll never use them. And I literally don't cut an onion without them.
Yeah, they, I had not seen them.
Oh, they look atrocious.
I just cry. I just cry through it. It's really disgusting.
I've
All
tried
right.
a bunch of stuff, but
So we're cooking this down. I've sliced 1/2 of my shallot mostly, or my yellow onion. Make that distinction. I have some bay here. I'll just need 1 leaf, and then I'll smash 2 cloves of garlic. This mix is going to go into the food processor,
Oh, great.
so that's why we're not really worried about cutting up everything super nicely. You do want your mushrooms to be sliced, however, so it kind of can cook evenly. You kind of cook at the same time, right? That's why we want consistent cuts.
Oh,
I do love
Smells
mushroom
good. Me
smells,
too.
right?
yeah.
And I also need some thyme. So I have some here. I'm gonna use some. Again, I have some in an exact measurement. I think I have about a tablespoon. This is Definitely not my recipe. This is a super, super light adaptation from Jacques Pepin when he does a meat one. But just one of the small changes I made is like I really ramped up the time. 'Cause I love thyme.
Nice. Now, is this how you keep your herbs at home, like in a jar with a little bit of water?
When I'm trying to be fancy
Okay.
in my life,
What about when you're not? I'm trying to figure out how to
I'll
keep my
tell you.
herbs where they don't get slurry.
I'll tell you, but I'm gonna need this to be a judgment-free zone.
100%.
Okay. So, but before, just in case someone is unsure on how to get thyme leaves off, you just hold it by the tip and you run your finger down, and that gives you your thyme leaves. All right. So at home, where those were, before I put them in the jar, trying to be fancy, I have a plastic shoebox, and I wash all of my herbs, and then I'll put down like a layer of paper towel, and then I'll put one bunch of dried out herbs, and then another layer of paper towel, and then maybe another bunch of dried out herbs, and then just kind of layer up my shoebox, and so it's like a little herb crisper that I keep in my fridge. And when I tell you, when I bought that Thai basil, you wouldn't believe me.
Really?
Really. I've done this. I've done the bag over it. I've done that within
Yeah.
the jar, just sitting in the fridge.
So it's just a little paper towel.
In between.
Lid on?
layers. Lid on.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you have all the herbs in one,
All the
just
herbs in
layered
one.
with paper towel.
Really?
Wow.
Yeah.
I love it.
So now I have to know,
I'm gonna try
when
that.
did you buy those?
What'd you say now?
She said judgment-free zone.
Yeah. No, I bought them last week.
Oh,
Like the
Yeah.
beginning of last week.
They look like you just bought them.
I lose basil in 3 days. Yeah, that's awesome.
And this is getting a little bit of head, but that is that's definitely that's Thai basil.
Yeah.
Which is definitely different from the like Mediterranean style basil.
Absolutely.
The leaves look different. It kind of has a more anisey note to it, and the stem or the stalk of the basil, I don't know if
Yeah.
it's a stem or stalk, it would be it's kind of purple.
Oh.
So that's something that you would notice there. All right.
So how do you know when your mushrooms are cooked all the way?
So if I was not having a bonehead moment, this would be dry, but I did put that oil in there, so that's gonna kind of.
So if you saw the liquid in the bottom,
I'm gonna wait till that's going away.
gotcha.
And 4 minutes is actually a pretty strong time. And like I was saying, the mushrooms, like they've started to get darker. They've released water, which you can see mixed in with that oil I mistakenly put in there. So you'll see that happening. And you can eat some mushrooms raw, so it's just depending on what your preparation is for your cook level. Like if you're cooking this down to a ragu, obviously it's gonna get down a lot, it's gonna shrink a lot. But let's say after about 4 minutes, we will just add everything to this. That's our shallot or onion, our smashed garlic, our bay, and our thyme. No rhyme or reason. And then we would continue to cook this until our onion or shallot soften. So maybe like another 2 minutes or so.
Smells amazing.
I know, you can tell it smells really good because we all got really
No.
quiet.
And you notice I didn't put any salt in here. I didn't need to do any of that. So you just don't. Because you're going to season the mix once it's in the food processor. So, I mean, you could, but you just would need to be
But it's
mindful.
gonna-
Yeah, that you're going to do that. Just clean up a little bit while this is going. And we can also
Oh my god, that smells so good.
start moving ahead on our prep for our tofu portion, the tofu filling.
I was a vegetarian for 5 years, but it was before I knew how to cook. When
Okay,
I was like 17,
gotcha.
like 22. And I thought I hated tofu. And it's because I had no idea how to prepare it. Now I love tofu.
Tofu can be good if you can eat it. Some people,
Yeah.
they don't recommend that they have it, but if you can, I like it. It's very versatile as a meat substitute, especially since
Yeah.
it doesn't have its own taste. You can season it very well. You can marinate it, so it's a great option. All right, so to show you,
That looks good.
my onions are just kind of soft now. I still have more liquid than I would like because I put that oil in mistakenly, but I'll just use a slotted spoon. I'm going to take this off heat, and when I say off heat, I mean even off the burner, which has residual heat. I'm just going to let this cool down a bit before we put it into the food processor. So this is the time we'll use to go ahead and make our dredge station for the tofu that we're gonna pan fry for our baguettes. So I've had a package of extra firm tofu, that's super important that it's extra firm, sitting in wrapped up paper towels so it can get as much excess liquid off as possible. And that's been safe sitting there, not a problem. So when you're planning like how you're gonna cook, just make sure you make time to let this sit in a paper towel or even a clean kitchen towel.
About how much time do you usually want to do that for?
I would say, and I say this a lot for, or I feel this way for most cooking, all the times are just reference points, right? So outside of time, I want this to not be so soggy. You know how tofu is when you pull it out of that
Yeah.
packet and it's just like cluck and it slops out. This paper towel is mostly wet and you can give this a touch.
Yeah, you'll feel
Oh,
You'll
yeah.
see how wet the paper
Yeah.
towel is and you'll see this is,
It almost looks like square brie.
it does almost look like square brie. That's a good point, it does. So this is sitting to the side and in the meanwhile I'll make my dredge station. And for our station, I'm gonna put about,
Why do you call it a dredge station?
I don't know why it's that
Okay.
name. I know the process is dredging to fry, but I don't know where that name comes from.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna put about a cup of sesame seeds in one shallow dish. This out of view for a second. I'm going to spill a little, but that's fine. I'm gonna put a cup of cornstarch.
Oh,
This is cornstarch.
I was not expecting that.
In another dish, about a cup. And I'm gonna season that cornstarch as well. So flour, when you use it, and cornstarch, gets everywhere, so just be prepared for that fun. But I'm gonna season this with salt, and if there was pepper, I would use that too. That's okay. And a nice high seasoning, which is cook speak for a lot of salt.
I feel like that was one of the best things I learned working in a restaurant is like
To actually season your food.
more salt than you think is appropriate
Yeah,
is what you want. That's what makes restaurant food good.
that's, you took
Fat
the
and
words
salt.
right out of my mouth.
Yeah.
That is exactly what makes the restaurant food taste so good, is that they are salting that
Yes.
food. This is about 2 egg whites that I want to beat. And this will be my other dredge, the other part of my station. And I'm going to clean this up because I spilled some egg white.
I was gonna say, you're doing that so well, I could never.
I
I
spilled-
know, and
What
it's
else
teeny,
am I
tiny
doing?
little dish.
my little jar was loose, the lid was loose, so I'm going to take a minute to get this egg white up. And give that a good clean because, nobody wants any of that. Nobody wants that food poisoning like that.
Yeah, working in restaurants was a real blessing learning how to cook.
I'm
Just,
sure.
you
Yeah.
start to pick up little things about what makes food taste so good when you go out as opposed to being at home. And yeah, salt,
Seasoning.
fat.
Salt is a huge
Yeah.
part of that. And I'm definitely going to take the time to make sure I clean this properly since it was raw egg.
Yeah.
So just bear with me. And plus I had cornstarch everywhere too, which is annoying.
Well, while she's doing that, we can talk about 30 Days of Pride and how it's been going. What's been your favorite event so far, guys?
Oh gosh, it's so many events.
I
Like,
know.
I would say, drag brunch,
Uh,
the silent disco.
I heard Silent Disco was great. I wasn't at that one.
I mean, I love the fun run. I mean,
Yeah.
that's a personal favorite of mine.
I really enjoyed the scavenger hunt. Just seeing all those kids all over downtown was fun.
I have had so many people tell me how much they love the scavenger hunt.
Yeah.
They really, I mean, I think the families really loved it.
Nice. That's what we were going for.
Okay. That timing worked out well.
Yay.
Hey. So I feel like our mushrooms are cooled down enough that we can go ahead and pop them into the food processor. I'm gonna make sure I take out that bay leaf, right?
Yes.
No bueno.
Why do you always have to remove the bay leaf?
Bay leaves don't really process super well.
Okay.
You know,
It's
I
good.
just can never
Stay
think
crunchy.
of an instance where I've
Yeah.
had bay leaf processed or left in anything,
No.
even like gumballs
Yeah.
and
And I always thought it was like bad for you or poisonous. Maybe that was misinformation I got, but it's because it doesn't process. So
I would think it's because it won't break down. Like I've accidentally blitzed some bay leaf before, and
it's just
It was
still.
Somebody told me once that the edges of the leaf would cut your esophagus. And then I was like, but people accidentally eat plastic. Like, that can't be right.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean,
but I believe
sure.
it for a long time.
I'm sure someone somewhere has survived that.
Absolutely.
But it won't be me.
Yeah, no.
All right. I'm being mindful not to put the liquid in here as best I can.
If you don't have a food processor, could you use a blender or is that? I'm just wondering for people out there that might not have it.
I would, if you don't have a food processor, I'm going to say get your cutting board, get your
Yeah.
knife, and get to chop, and just blitz it as much as you can. The nice thing about pate though is pate doesn't necessarily have to be smooth. Even like the meat version, it can have some texture to it. So, don't beat yourself up if you're not killing it like Jacques Dolan with your knife skills. But I would just do everything that we did, and then I would get this out on some kind of cutting board, and then just go. Or you could spend more time cutting them all individually, and then just stir it up together. All right, so in here I have mushroom mix. I get my salt ready, and I have butter. I have about 5 tablespoons of butter, and then I also have some Scotch whiskey.
Oh,
Nice.
If you don't. It's a minimal amount, so you won't miss anything. But with the processor running, I'm going to start adding the butter bit by bit. And this processor is kind of large, so. I'm gonna have to scrape this down a little bit sooner than I would have thought. Either way, you would want to scrape it down.
Yeah.
And now I'm gonna go ahead and add salt. Yes. I'm also gonna add a teaspoon of my
Nice. Yes.
The more you know.
I mean, I even love watching when you put on salt. I mean,
Yeah.
even the way I do salt, it looks like I'm in pain.
More.
How much butter? A
pain.
couple tablespoons of butter.
at a time. Yeah. No more. You shouldn't go over 5 or 6, or really more like 6. And you're doing it bit by bit because you want to, gauge, right? Like these mushrooms were kind of wet, so I may not need as much butter as I had planned.
And what are you looking for here?
I want to make sure my butter is nice and incorporated.
Okay.
That's really the main thing I'm looking for. And it's going to help it have a very nice kind of like creamy consistency and texture. Add a little bit more. And this butter is room temperature. Super important to make sure we mention that. That we have room temp butter. You don't want the work of trying to deal with cold butter, which won't incorporate.
How long can you leave butter out?
Say again?
How long can you leave butter out? I mean, always?
You're asking me?
No judgment. No judgment.
I know people that leave it out all the time.
I leave it
I
out.
leave it out all the
Okay.
time.
I need a butter dish.
I leave it out all the time. I really do.
But I
I
think
do
it's
too.
probably a part, it depends probably too on the humidity in your house.
Yeah. So like right now, my butter is not out because
It gets too soft.
it's too soft. It's like running. But otherwise, my butter stays out. My eggs also stay out.
See, I've lived in Europe for 11 years and eggs are never refrigerated.
Yeah.
It freaked me out for the first year.
But do you buy them cold though and then leave them out? Because I've heard that if they're already been cold, that you're not supposed to leave them out at room temp?
Oh, I haven't heard that because if that's the case, I'm in violation.
No,
Yeah.
I probably heard wrong. I was just curious.
Fire. Fire. You have to
Nice.
so you guys can get a taste. There's one more in the container. Once you get this to where you want it to be, it's off. You're just gonna transfer it to a dish and let it firm up in the fridge. This is great. Leftover, obviously, we just slice on, put on a slice of toast, baguette,
Oh my God.
an egg.
Oh,
You're good to go.
Wow.
We're doing big things, right?
that's awesome.
It's pretty good.
Okay,
Very
full
good.
disclosure that I didn't want to admit while you were making this. I'm not a big mushroom fan,
I think that's fair.
but I have learned that I'm a fan of any ingredient when it's prepared really well.
Yeah.
That is amazing.
I would
Well-
love to have that on a baguette.
Holy cow.
Well,
Yeah.
it actually will go on your baguette because it's going to be part of your filling. But yeah, good old Jacques Pepin, right? Can't go wrong with
I'm
Jacques.
quite excited.
That would be a good thing to put in the fridge and then take it to work for like a lunch. Put it on
Yes.
some bread.
Yeah. Pate is a fantastic picnic food. So I'm going to pass this off to somebody. And if they can just pop this in this glass dish for me
Absolutely.
and then move that to the fridge.
I'm going to be very paranoid about getting it all out of there.
Oh, you notice I
Give it
scraped
to
it.
Dan.
I scraped it to the side. I scraped it to the side for you. So
Thank
For an
you.
hour.
Don't
Dan needs some work right now for a while.
Actually, see if we have space. Smith, would you mind seeing if you can wrangle a little bit of space for this and this? Otherwise, if you guys eat it, I definitely want you to have it cold. All right. Doing good. I'm sure somebody.
Feel you
Or, oh, how's it going?
Good. Dan's just watching for
I'm not
approval.
judging at all. Not an ounce.
All right. So the next portion is going to be our tofu, which we kind of got started, right, with our dredging station.
Yes.
And probably will need a little bit more egg white. It's always nice to set up your station so it makes sense and you're not working across yourself, right? So it would go cornstarch that seasoned, egg white, sesame into my pan. So I'm not going to have this discombobulated some other kind of way.
I just learned that you like pre-coated in cornstarch
Yes,
and
please.
flour. I didn't know that.
Say that one more time.
Like when you're gonna coat something, you do it first in cornstarch and flour, and
Yes.
then the wet,
And then it helps.
yeah.
Yeah.
I had no idea.
Well, you know what? You're not the only one. I'm not going to lie to you. I just learned that not too long ago
Okay,
myself.
good.
Yeah. I was always doing it out of order for some kind of way. And I was like, why isn't it coming out right? And then I had to like go to the internet because I was too embarrassed to add my system and get judged. So,
That's funny.
yeah. So in my pan, I have a generous amount of neutral oil, which I'm going to use to do this pan fry. And I have that over kind of medium heat. And thank you. Set that to the side. So I'm going to put this over right now, just kind of low to get it going. And I'm going to slice these into planks, right? Because they're going to go in our sandwich. And so I'm just going to go straight across. I think I could get about six, maybe half inches each. And I use like, this is an inch, so I use like half my fingertip is my guide. So I would say, yeah, that's better. And again, this is extra firm. If you try it with anything else, it will be a little more challenging.
You don't want it soft.
You don't want it soggy, but then it's hard to slice and keep its shape. It's already pretty like kind of fragile to maneuver with. But I tried this with like firm, and it would have broken by now. I'm just trying to handle it. And I'm going to recommend that when you do this, you dredge them all because they cook up very quickly, and then trying to like manipulate them all at the same time can be a little challenging. It was for me, so that's why I prefer to do it this way. It also got a little bit messy with the egg whites. I just had to let that be. I had to give that up to God and just accept that that's what was happening. And I'm talking about like a nice generous coating. I think it was maybe like quarter cup, eighth of a cup of oil in the bottom.
And that's olive oil that you're using?
No, this is going to be a neutral oil still.
Neutral.
Yeah.
Okay.
I like using neutral oil most of the time in general in my life, unless I specifically want that olive oil taste or a sesame oil taste.
So like
or
an avocado or grape or.
grapeseed for sure. Avocado oil, you know what? I've always been too cheap to buy.
Okay.
So honestly,
Well, that-
I've been too cheap to buy avocado oil. And just in our household, we've never really had too much of a, it don't seem like we're missing it
Yeah.
Yeah.
from what we're trying to do. So, corn flour, egg white. Try to get as much of that excess off. Press it into your seeds. Right?
Beautiful. And that's so much less oil in the pan than I think of for frying.
Yeah, because you're probably thinking like, oh, deep frying, right?
Yeah.
Like, have a gang of oil in there. No.
So you do the cornstarch first.
The
and
cornstarch
then
first,
Okay,
then the
I
egg.
guess I always did the egg white first.
Is that?
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's what
we were
just
talking
learned.
about that.
Yeah.
Off camera on that.
He was being an assistant. See, now this broke. Now I'm not going to cry. It's not necessary because it's going in a sandwich.
Yeah.
Okay?
Right.
And we're just going to hide that with some bread. Just fine. It'll be fine. Now, in theory, I should have beaten this white better because it's hard to really break that down so it's not so stringy and thick. Another reason why I'm wearing my gloves.
Doesn't the cornstarch kind of do that too, though?
Break down the egg white.
Yeah, like
Oh, I don't know.
thicken
Tell-
it
tell
a
me
little as you
something.
go.
You know what? Anytime you're dredging, actually, now that you say that, like even if this was flour, of course it's gonna get in
A
there
little gloopy.
and get a little gloopy. Yeah,
The official way of saying
that
that.
is that. I like our official lingo. Some gloopy. We're doing it,
I like it.
all of us.
This is the kind of cooking I can do.
Good,
Yeah,
because this is the kind of cooking I can do.
we're gonna redo this a little thing.
Oh, I think we should.
100%.
Yay! All right. I was a little short on my egg white. Oh, that's right. I had the spill too. I spilled some.
Oh,
So we're gonna stop the dredge there. The dredge. I'm not saying drudge, I'm saying dredge. And now we're gonna fry these off. So these two,
it is kind of a drudge after you
Yeah.
spill the egg white. It's
Yeah.
just hitting you, isn't it?
I was like, egg whites, no. Set this to the side. We'll need it later. And then this is gross, so we'll definitely put that away. I always try to make a point to put like any of my egg stuffs away and clean after it as soon as possible, just so things are sanitary. And this cornstarch, since I would probably keep this and maybe put it in a separate container and just label it and then think to myself, oh, I could probably use this cornstarch for something else. So,
Yeah.
and I would
Nice.
note that it's seasoned as well, that it had that salt and in theory the pepper in there as well. All right, let's crank this up. These are gonna cook at maybe like until they get golden brown, right? That's relative. Until it gets golden brown. I'm golden brown, but I don't need them quite my complexion. So you just gotta kind of use your common sense on it, and I would say maybe a minute, and then check, or it could be more or less depending also on your heat. This, I don't know what pan this is, but this pan that Teresa has here is doing it. I do 2 batches. If I had not, chucked those other 2, I would have done 2 batches, and I know I would have been able to get 3 and 3
Right.
in there, and then that would have been nice. I'm gonna crank this up. There we go.
It's really fun to watch you because I mean you're so comfortable cooking, and it's like
Oh, well, thank you. I
when
appreciate that.
when I cook, it's like my 7th grade dance.
Well, I appreciate that. I would, to be very honest, I don't know of any. I have chef friends, and I don't know any of them who don't have moments where they're nervous or uncomfortable.
Right.
Which is always nice and reassuring for me because it makes me feel like, okay, I'm not alone, obviously.
Right.
But to hear you say that means a lot, so thank you very much
Yeah,
for
you're
that.
welcome.
Yeah. So while I'm waiting for this to get going, let's multitask a little bit because we're going to get ready to assemble our banh mi sandwiches. And so I'm going to just, for the convenience of it, tear off some, or actually, would you mind?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. I'm going to have you tear off some leaves of, again, the Thai basil,
Okay.
pull off some cilantro, and then just give it a little mix so it's easier to build
Sure.
up. And there really is no like these are kind of big, so you might want to just rip them up. And
Okay.
again, it's going in a sandwich, so you don't need to be like,
So I can just pull them out of the jar
yeah,
and do
however you want to do it.
that. All right.
Yeah, but just make sure you're getting
Baby.
leaves only.
Uh-huh.
Might be pulling them right from here.
So I had to ask Teresa about that pan. It's by Heston. It's their new latest and greatest. It's called a Nanobond pan. And it's, yeah,
Doing it.
it's a whole new thing with non-stick technology. She said it's her favorite thing right now.
This pan is hot. It
Yeah.
is like warming up so nicely. I feel like I'm doing like a little unpaid promotion for them. But it is
Oh my
really,
gosh.
this is really a nice pan. I haven't
Yeah.
used this pan before, but I'm really feeling it. All right. So this is now sizzling in the appropriate temp. And can you pass me that spatula,
Yeah, of course.
please?
There you go.
Thank you. All right, and since I had one in here,
Oh, sizzling.
Sound.
yeah, I'm gonna actually turn that down. Because you know, as you cook with the oil, it
Yeah.
gets hotter the longer it cooks. Let's see.
I love the smell of the sesames.
Yeah.
That's not ready. That's fine. Because I'm gonna add the other ones and get it going. Adjust my heat.
So how much oil do you think you have? I mean, as far as like, because you don't, some people, you know.
No, this
When they
is
think
like
of
not even an
frying.
inch worth.
Yeah.
This is like I think I had like a quarter of a cup, eighth of a cup worth of oil in the bottom.
If you get in there and take a look, it's like a good coating on the bottom.
Yeah, you can take a peek if you
And
want. I
just,
just didn't want it to.
And then a skosh more, like a glug past a coat.
Yeah.
Again, with official measurements. It's a glug past a coat.
We're doing it. We're doing it.
A glug.
No
I
glove.
like that.
You know?
So you're gonna tear as much as you think you would want for your sandwiches.
Okay.
Okay.
I think that's probably enough.
I think you could do a little more.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah,
Okay.
let's
Yeah.
do a little bit more.
All
And then
right.
while we're talking about the sandwich fillings and while this is going, I've pre-cut some cucumber, which we'll use. And you can cut cucumber however you want for this, right? It's your sandwich. I did some strips just using a peeler. Let me pull this up. Did some strips using a peeler. I have some on the bias. And I've also cut some jalapenos as well
Oh, nice.
as an option, right? And then because it's banh mi, we're gonna use the baguette. And I was able to pick up a loaf at just the local chain grocery store. Now, I'm not gonna lie, if you're in the Des Moines area, I love Scenic Route Bakery, but they
Yeah.
only sell bread loaves on Fridays.
Oh.
And I didn't have room in my freezer to wrap it and freeze it, so I went with the chain store. So Scenic Route, was
We are
thinking of you.
really blessed in Des Moines with some really great bakeries.
do.
I live a hop, skip, and a jump away from Lamy, so baguette is a rough go in my house. It's something I can have a lot of.
Yeah.
I'm never lacking on bread. But Scenic Route, Gateway Market, I mean, we've just got some really good bread around here.
It's true.
It's nice.
The baguette that you bought really didn't look real. I mean, it's so perfect. It looks like it's. I thought it was a prop.
and I'm gonna say, and you know, I did go to pastry school.
Mhm.
I spent some time on bread shift.
Yeah.
And before we moved here, I wasn't in the kitchen, the production area, but I was working at an artisanal French bakery for a world championship baker.
Oh, wow.
So I've gotten really bougie about my bread, and I would not trust too many loaves that look too perfect.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm going to keep that in mind.
Do you make your own bread at home a lot, or?
Not a lot, but sometimes I do. Sometimes you just kind of get to a point where you're like, I can do that.
Yeah.
But
I'm
is
just
it
gonna
you
do
did for
that.
the last year?
Yeah. So I did not do the sourdoughs
No.
like everybody else and their mama. Let me get some paper towels for this, actually.
You weren't responsible for the flour shortage?
No, I was not. My brother was calling me from Chicago saying, can you give me flour? And I'm, because he likes to make pizza a lot. And I was like, I can't help you.
Oh, my gosh. That's
all
so
for me.
funny.
So this is what I'm talking about. Nice golden brown. You're not, you know,
That's great.
Yeah, it's
I
beautiful.
love the smell of the sesame.
I love the
Yes.
smell of it
So,
too. Now they will burn, so you do kind of have to like
Yeah.
move them on purpose because I'm not gonna fish out those out of the bottom. This
like
I would
garlic.
chuck because we had egg in there.
Oh, sure.
This is beautiful. Thank
Great. You're welcome.
So we'll put this here. And we'll let this fry, and then we'll set this to the side. We'll slice our banh mi. Now, of course, or your baguette for the banh mi. And then, of course, you could always toast your bread if you wanted to. I would just do a 350 oven, cut it, toast it, over burning. We're on fire.
Oh,
It's burning, burning. It's emergency. Oh, we're good.
It's funny, the Thai basil, is it Thai basil or is it?
It's Thai
Yeah.
basil.
Thai basil, it does have a nice smell to it.
Yeah,
It smells good, I like it.
I like it too. Definitely, different taste.
Mhm.
yeah.
You know, so kind of like that fish sauce, right? It's like when you have it, you know you're eating Asian
Yeah.
food, which I think is important.
And did you get that at an Asian market? Or
I did.
Okay.
The Asian market, I got really everything. But I think it depends. It's like an issue about quantities, right? Because I could have gotten the jalapeno, but it was like a huge packet. Like if you're cooking with peppers, that's where you need to go. If I wanted a mastodon carrot, I could have gone there as well for the mastodon sized carrot. But again, I was kind of shopping
Yeah.
at like 3 or 4 different stores. All right, so we have this. This is our tofu. It's ready to go. And now it's assembly time. So I'm
Oh,
going to cut
fantastic.
this and we will be done. I'm going to get a clean board. I'm just going to cut off the little, I'm going to cut off the tips. I didn't want to say that.
Never not funny. There's no point of maturity I'll reach where that's not funny.
Also grab I forgot to get this out the freezer. So you would wrap this for me.
Yes.
No ceremony. That's the no churn ice cream. I made
Yeah,
some in
it
advance,
is.
of course.
I cannot wait to make that. I'm
Yeah.
serious.
I'm just gonna cut off these little round ends.
I'm doing that also working in restaurants to make that, and I like to whip like peaches or strawberries into it.
I was just gonna ask that,
Yeah.
with the ice cream, I know you put some vanilla in it, but could you do something like lemon or, I mean,
You could flavor it however you want.
okay.
Really. Just
Like
think about
cheesecake.
think
Yeah.
about what you're trying to achieve, obviously,
Right.
with it. But you could flavor it however you would like to. This would be better with a serrated, but we're just doing this now. We've committed. We've done it.
We're in.
And I can't find my little dish towel. So. Heeding my own advice about stabilizing your board, right? And I'm actually gonna have you guys build your own sandwiches.
Okay,
Oh,
How
perfect.
does that sound?
love it.
All right. So pretend it's a serrated, hand flat, and you cut. Actually, don't do this part. I'm gonna just keep it kind of like a book,
Okay.
okay,
Okay.
for all of them. Okay, let's not be serrated. Okay, we're rolling with this. If you crack open your baguette and you find that it has too much like bread on the inside for your taste, then you could definitely take some out, like dig out some of the inside.
Mhm.
Please don't do this at home. Don't do this. Do as I say, not as I do on this.
You mean cutting it from the top like that?
Yeah, this is all kinds of janky cutting I'm doing right now. I own it. This is bad.
Yeah.
I own this.
Can I ask why cutting it from the top like that is bad? Not
Because you
that
can
I
cut
ever
yourself.
do
You
it.
should never like be cutting in the world, right?
Okay.
Like all
Right.
cuts should be like down
Yeah.
and across, like
Okay.
away from you. So this is just like slice your finger off,
Madness.
Erica.
Okay.
Why don't you?
Okay.
Kind of stuff. So don't do this. I promise you. I just can't find this to rate it.
It's getting the job done. You're moving nice and slow.
Yeah. Don't jinx me now.
There's
All right. There we go.
a fine line between being supportive
Yes.
and jinxing.
And then just jinxing. All right. So I'm going to leave these here and I'm going to grab these,
yeah.
the toppings for you all. So I would do pate,
Yeah.
cucumber, tofu.
Okay.
Okay. And
Perfect.
do pate on both sides. I'll grab you guys spoons. Or maybe one person wants to and build them. Don't be
Yeah. Yeah, I do.
shy.
I feel like we should assembly line it.
Yeah.
I'll grab you a spoon.
Okay.
Come on, baby. Yeah, you come on. Grab. Grab you a spoon. Number 2 or 3. Here you go.
Cucumbers.
For sure. Great. Yep, so I would do pate on both sides if you're having the pate. Layer cucumber on the bottom. And more than one person can get in there. There's 2 spoons, so go ahead and
Yeah.
do that.
I'm just going to admire your work. And do some cheers. Nice job. Well done.
I feel like that's coming from a place of judgment, Dan.
Me?
You said 1 layer of cucumber.
Or however much you
And
want. But I would do the cucumber
In
as the
addition.
next layer and then top that with tofu.
Put some jalapeno on there too.
Yeah. And then that herb mix that was picked.
That was my part.
Yes, that was your part. Thank you. So definitely some herb mix. If you want jalapeno, jalapeno. And then you definitely need the pickle mix,
Oh, yes.
right?
Oh yeah, the pickle mix.
I'm super excited about that.
And then to finish, you will need a spray of Bragg's liquid amino, or it would be a dash of soy sauce. This is a non-soy soy sauce substitute.
Oh,
Never
nice.
seen that
Or
before.
I want to say
Oh.
it's pronounced Maggie seasoning.
Yeah, Maggie.
Maggie seasoning, a couple dash, and this helps give it a more authentic taste.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
I love that.
And then I'll grab
Smell
some
it.
noodles. Forget we have nudes. Oh, you need a plate, don't you? You don't want to be a savage person.
Well, I mean, I can. I would be at home. Thank you.
You're welcome. And she gave me these plates earlier, and I was like, no, I want those. Ignore me.
Okay, we're gonna let you build.
Okay,
Okay.
I'll build mine. I'm also going, I'm digging these cucumber slices.
agree.
Yo, you
Right.
like the strips or the?
Strips.
I
Yeah.
do.
Yeah. It's
Okay, so we're doing
So how long
the.
would the pate last in the fridge?
So,
The
Um,
I'm gonna
leftovers?
do
Yeah.
this.
I will get back to you for certain on that, but I know at least a week.
Okay. I mean, not like, yeah, exact, but you can do
Yeah.
it maybe a week.
You could do a week.
And I guess I shouldn't be a savage either. I don't know, I think I can grab this.
Yeah, I'm a savage.
I already did that, so.
Okay,
I
We've already
Like we're all friends here.
established that.
decided
It's been a long
non-judgment.
month already.
Non-judgment,
If we're not
everybody.
here yet, I don't know.
Your sandwich looks good. I'm gonna put some noodle salad on the side for you, if you want any.
Oh.
Yes, I
Of
would love
course.
some.
And then I'll. Are you making it at home?
Oh, definitely.
Yeah.
Right on. Right
Oh,
on.
that smells good.
Do you want me to dress the noodle salad for you, or do you
Sure,
want to dress it?
sure, sure.
Oh my goodness, I'm so excited.
Me too.
Yes. So starting doing that, I'll bring
Okay.
over some noodles. Dress it. Does anybody have a problem if I dress the whole thing?
Please
No,
do.
yeah, that's great.
And again, I'm using my hands because sometimes,
Yeah.
like Ina says, right? That's Ina Garden. Like I said that like we're friends. Like, you know Ina. You
My
know what
great
she says.
nephew is almost 3, and he talks about Ina.
They're besties.
Oh, Ina. Ina wouldn't do that.
Oh, Ina.
Yeah.
I don't know what that is.
What?
I don't know.
Ina Garden.
Oh,
She's a chef,
oh.
and she's delightful.
Hmm.
She likes a little cocktail.
Or a big
Well,
one.
it sounds like my country.
Or a big one, yeah.
So here we have noodle salad.
So
Yum.
colorful too.
It's very pretty. The corn really adds.
I'm definitely gonna make this.
I hope so.
I am.
I enjoyed it very much.
Mm. Oh my goodness.
Do you guys mind sharing?
No, not at all.
Just in case everybody doesn't want any. And
Oh
then
my
the
gosh.
last bit would be the dessert, but I feel like I don't want to like rush anybody.
Oh, that's all right. I'm always happy to eat dessert anytime.
This is so good.
Are you okay? No.
Watching.
You can have this last one if you want.
I was gonna say, you want a sandwich?
Yeah, if you want, we can just jump in and go ahead and build one for yourself. So I'll definitely make sure I clean up.
Mm.
If you, for those of you who can't see who I'm talking to, this is the next chef that's coming to prepare a wonderful meal. And I've like made a big mess before she got
So
here.
what is the pate made out of?
Mushroom. Do you eat mushroom?
Yes,
Okay.
I eat everything
Okay.
except goat cheese.
Okay. So there's that, and then I would do that, then the cucumber, and then some tofu,
Yeah,
and then a little bit of the herb mix, and that would be that.
and then jalapeno.
This is awesome.
This
You guys
is
like it?
so good.
Yay! I'm so excited.
Yeah, it's amazing with like the sesame seeds and baguette. You remember
I like
the
the
Asian
texture.
French?
Yeah. I liked the texture, which is why I definitely wanted to do the sesame seeds on there, and I definitely didn't want to just have just
Yeah.
Mhm.
veggies stuffed in a
Mhm.
baguette. So
Are there
That works
some
out.
forks hiding back there?
oh, absolutely.
Well, I'm eating mine with my spoon.
And the pickled veggies, I mean, that's coming through
Thank
too.
you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Needing that bit of acid,
The
right?
flavor on there is great.
Oh, no, that's right.
There's no microwave here. I think Teresa's anti-microwave.
Oh, I am too.
I know, she.
I didn't have one for years.
It's getting
And then I was
somewhere.
out of town for a weekend and my husband bought one so he could make taquitos.
I'm gonna do a quick boil on this, so I can get your instant espresso going, and then clean up as I go.
So what are you doing now? You're heating.
I'm gonna go ahead and get ready for the desserts.
Okay.
So I'm gonna. There's no microwave, so I'm
Get a
gonna
little piece
do.
of-
Excuse me. I'm gonna make the instant espresso
Oh,
for the pour over. So I just needed to heat some water. You want to hop in and get some sandwich? Sure.
It's just so good.
You like it? Thank you.
This is delightful.
And you can
Everything
use the
is
rest of
delightful.
It's so fresh for summertime.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Like this.
Don't mind me while I just hold this bowl of noodle salad instead of sharing it with anybody.
I can even talk right now.
And Teresa, this pan is everything.
Right? It's called Nanobond by
The
Heston.
herbs and then a little splash of.
Okay.
I know that
And we
it-
just
isn't
got
that
them
bad?
in, and the technology is so you don't have a nonstick coating.
Mm-hmm.
Technology has been produced, so it's part of the pan. It's titanium's stainless steel.
I
I
love it.
love it.
And it
So-
gets up so fast.
Oh my gosh!
Yeah. Oh, so you used it before?
I used the skillet.
Okay. When I was using it, I was like, wow, pan, this is getting nice and hot. It was great.
Right. It's the latest, greatest on the market.
Well, and I'm so terrified of the coatings,
Right.
right?
I think a lot of people are.
Uh-huh.
They get scratched. There's no way to not, you know, they're supposed to be safe if you don't scratch them, but there's no way to cook well and not scratch a pan.
We've all seen the movie.
I just watched the movie about 3 weeks ago.
I know.
Thanks to COVID, I was like, what? This is good.
Oh my god, that's delicious.
I love that salad.
The what? The
The
salad?
salad.
All of it.
I love it.
And one thing about this is that all these flavors taste better after a little bit of time, right? So
Yeah.
if you made this earlier in the day and then came back to it, oh my goodness.
Mm-hmm.
Like that pickle mix I made the other day, if we had made it today, it wouldn't quite be so flavorful.
Mm.
That sesame oil in the
Yeah.
noodle salad is just so,
It's kind of rich, right?
it's overt. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
wonderful. It really gives the salad a lot of depth.
I'm so happy nobody can see me eating right
I am
now.
so happy nobody can see me eating. Because it is messy, but it is good. Mm,
But you're right. This would be good for like a picnic. Pack
Oh,
it up
yeah.
And like,
yeah,
Absolutely.
this is a summer meal.
You'd be living
For sure.
your best French life with that. that pate. On its
We
own.
got this, we got a little rosé, we got a little patio.
Yes. Yeah.
Where's that?
You want to know what's up?
Speaking of which, not to toot my own horn or anything, but toot toot. That rosé really works really well with us.
Actually, rosé was really, and you said it was like $4.99.
And it's like $4.99 a bottle. Trader Joe's, man.
Trader Joe's wine.
Yeah.
Look at the corner. I know, they're like,
Mm.
they're
So
saying
can I
they're
use
thankful that
these?
they can be
These
seen.
are heat proof, right?
Absolutely. So good.
Are you having a affogato?
Sure.
No.
What is it?
An affogato?
I
The
have
ice cream.
whatever you're cooking.
Okay. Okay. Oh no, let's use these. Are these heat proof?
Well, they're glasses, so they go through the dishwasher, right? You could probably put really hot water in them.
I don't want to risk it.
Ooh, those jalapenos.
Yeah, I know, right? But I like it. Gives a little kick.
No, do you know where the ice cream scoop is?
Is that hanging?
Yeah, I think it might be hanging.
Right there.
Mm-hmm.
Good eyes, thank you guys.
We have to be good for something.
You guys are great for a lot. All right.
Are those on your glasses?
Yes, they are. And for the affogato portion, it's always nice to temper your ice cream, meaning just set it out a little bit so it's not so hard to scoop. And then another trick is you can stick your ice cream scoop in hot water, shake it off, and then use that to scoop your ice cream. And so I'm just waiting for this water to boil so I can make the instant espresso. Now, for your no churn ice cream, let's say you wanted to do a mix in, like if you wanted to crush up some kind of cookie or put a chocolate chip in it, you will wait till it gets like the consistency of soft serve ice cream.
Okay.
Then
Oh.
you would put your mix in and then put it back in the freezer to firm all the way up. All right.
Everything is delicious.
I really like it because in the summer, sometimes I don't want to eat heavy.
Right.
And this
Yeah.
is really fresh and light and really tastes good.
I can't believe how much I'm enjoying the mushrooms. It's so good.
Well, that's exciting to hear.
Yeah. That's one thing also from working in restaurants. There might be ingredients you don't think you like, but your palate changes. So like once a year you should try stuff you've always told yourself you don't like
That's a really good point,
and see
actually.
if you like it.
Like aside from being like allergic to something,
Yeah.
you actually should revisit,
Just give it shots.
just revisit something that you thought you did not enjoy.
You might just surprise yourself.
It's beets for me.
Oh,
No, I wish I did. I need to try them again.
Love
It's been a
them.
year.
yeah.
Is it because you think they taste like the ground?
I think they taste like the ground.
So if you have one that
What
Oh,
tastes
they
like
got
ground?
Beets.
I'm gonna agree.
They do.
Mm,
Beets,
I want to love them.
I don't want to love them.
My sister thinks they
I
taste
cannot
like
stand beets.
Oh, Lord, I could eat
Ah.
anything.
My mom likes beets.
Me too.
It just
I
tastes
I
like
love 'em.
dirt.
It's really
Just
I have
I think it depends on the beet too. Like some are a little bit more,
Yeah.
I don't know, I don't want to say natural tasting.
gamey.
Gamey as a vegetable.
Evidently, I love beet sugar.
And by gamey I mean dirt.
Basically. Now, when you're making your affogato, you can make it as big or as small as you want, right? You can do it with one big scoop. You can do 2 little scoops. It's up to you. I'm gonna just do 1 scoop for now.
I never thought about making ice cream that way.
The no churn way.
Yeah, and as a kid, we had, like an ice cream maker, and that's, I guess, how I thought you always made ice cream. You just never thought you could
Yeah.
You know,
do it that way.
I'm gonna be honest. One of my first jobs, I had to make the ice cream, trying to make the donuts. So I was feeling some kind of way about this whole no churn business. And I would say, if you're in a pinch, it's not a bad
Yeah.
option.
Right.
It really is not. All right.
Erica's gonna teach an ice cream class coming up, by the way.
Oh, nice.
True that, I am.
When's the ice cream class?
The 11th. The 11th.
Here at Kitchen Collage?
Yep, it'll be online
Oh,
actually.
fantastic.
Oh, I'm gonna sign in.
So, and I definitely do a vanilla base, a vanilla custard base. Amazing. All right, so I'm gonna serve you guys your scoops, and then I also have some little Vietnamese coffee cookies that I found at the Asian store for like
Oh,
$2. You
fantastic.
can have that if you so please. And you just need a little bit.
So you made the espresso.
I made the espresso with the instant pack. And then I'm just putting some over the ice cream. It's gonna melt.
If you wanted to, could you let the espresso get to like room temperature and then
I think you could, but it kind of,
you like it with that?
it almost is supposed to be hot. You know, like you
Yep.
can do what you want to do, but it's supposed to have some heat on there. This can be some ones with a little cookie. Let's do just that. Here's a little cookie there. Need more spoons. We really burned through the
I have-
spoons today.
I bought one.
Oh, okay, beautiful.
I'll reuse.
Thank you. Here's a spoon. Here's a spoon.
Thank you.
You're welcome. And you have a spoon. That a spoon. And place it in there. And then here you go, Teresa. Vanilla. No, you don't have to share.
I know.
Yeah. And that's that.
Terrific.
Oh my God.
This is,
What do you think?
oh my God.
I can't eat that because of my coffee situation, but
Mm,
We'll eat it for you.
this
don't
is
worry.
so
is
good.
it good?
You
I'm
can
glad-
Oh
look
my
like Harrison
goodness.
to us, but it's amazing.
Okay.
Thank you.
I'm glad you guys enjoyed everything. I appreciate all
It
the
almost tastes
feedback.
like butterscotch. It's
Yeah.
so
Really?
good.
That's
Mhm.
So
interesting.
rich.
Yeah. That's
Ah,
fun.
well, thank you
You're
so
more than
much. This
welcome.
was like
Thank
the
you.
perfect ending to that wonderful meal.
Yeah, thank you for this opportunity to participate in this. It means a lot
Absolutely.
to be involved. So thank you.
Well, we
Thank you so
appreciate
much.
you.
Yeah.
And hey, thanks everybody for tuning in. We'll see you next week.